Welcome back to our channel, Retired and Loving It. I'm Terry, and today I'm going to do another life lessons with Terry, and I'm going to tell you about my trigeminal neuralgia journey. On April the 10th, it was a Sunday evening, I was sitting in the recliner and all of a sudden I had this horrible pain like right up behind my ear. And it was like every 10 seconds, and it felt like someone was like shocking me with a jolt right here above my ear. And like I said, it was every 10 seconds, and it never let up all night long. It just kept, and it was horrible pain. So the next morning I decided, okay, if it's not letting up or easing at all by 9 a.m., I'm gonna have Keith take me to the ER. So it came 9 a.m. and it was still just horrible pain. And so we went to the ER, and they really didn't do a lot of physical tests or anything like that. I talked to the doctor, I talked to the lady who is studying to be a doctor, and a few minutes later, the doctor came in and he said, "Hand me your phone." So I handed him my phone, and he pulled up on Wikipedia, trigeminal neuralgia, which I had heard of before, but I didn't really know what it was. So he said, "Read this and I'll be back." So I was sitting there reading it, and it sounded exactly like what I was experiencing. So he came back in and he said, "Did you read it?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Does it sound like you?" I said, "Yes, it does." And so he diagnosed me with trigeminal neuralgia. And basically what that means, for those of you who don't know, like I didn't know, there's a trigeminal nerve that runs like from the side of your head to your face on both sides. And usually with trigeminal neuralgia, people will have pain in the side of their face. But for me, it was pain back here behind my ear. And when I went to the ER, I didn't know, like, am I having a stroke? Am I having some kind of aneurysm? I mean, I didn't know. I just knew it was pain that I had not had before, and it was horrible pain. So anyway, that's what trigeminal neuralgia is. That nerve that runs on both sides of your face, it just kind of goes haywire, and it starts firing for no apparent reason, and you feel horrible pain. So the ER doctor gave me a prescription, and it was for a medication that they use for people who have seizures. And what that does is it calms that nerve down and hopefully prevents pain. So I started taking the medication that day, and it was a couple days later before the pain actually totally went away. But I still take that medication twice a day, and I could not get an appointment with the neurologist until August. But today I had to go in for an MRI, and I'll show you a little bit of that footage. As we told you in the previous video, I have to go for an MRI, and so today's the day. So we're gonna go to the MRI today, and I won't get any results, I'm sure, today. They just do the test. So here we go. Phew, that was an experience. I've had an MRI in my thumb before, And that was hard enough because my thumb was injured and I couldn't move it, and they had it in a very painful position. This time my whole head was in there and I couldn't move my head. It was not a pleasant experience, but it's done. So thank goodness for that. Now, as you saw on the footage, that MRI was horrible. I'm not normally claustrophobic, but putting me in that tube, and it seemed like forever. And knowing that you have to stay perfectly still and you cannot move. This wasn't painful because they did the MRI of my head. I just could not move. And I was in there about 45 minutes, which seemed forever. So I hope I never have to do that again. But here's the good news. For me, the medication has calmed that nerve enough to where every now and then I'll feel a twinge of pain, but nothing like I was feeling before. So the medication for me is working, which is wonderful, because with trigeminal neuralgia, sometimes the medication doesn't work for the patients, and they call this the suicide disease because it's such an intense pain and it doesn't let up. I mean, it's just relentless. So I'm very thankful and blessed that I had people praying for me, and I'm taking the medication, and the prayers and the medication have calmed that nerve down, and for me, it's very doable for me right now. I go to the neurologist in August, and we'll see the results of the MRI, and also if she wants me to remain on this medication or if she would advise me that I can get off of it. So we'll see what she says, but I'll keep you posted. And here's the thing that I learned through all of this is that, you know, if you have the ability and you have the means to retire, you just need to go ahead and retire when you can, because none of us are guaranteed good health, and none of us are guaranteed a long life. So Keith and I, that's the one reason that we decided to start the YouTube channel, is because we want to go out and we want to experience life, and we want to see places and do things, because life is so short. So if there's a takeaway from this, it's that go ahead, if you can, retire and just enjoy life. Because like I said, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. Well, I'll keep you posted on my trigeminal journey, but I just wanted to let you know kind of some things that we've been dealing with. And also, I had someone comment on one of our videos one time, oh, you guys just seem so happy-go-lucky, not a care in the world. Well, everybody deals with something. And you know, sometimes you just don't talk about it. We also have an adult son. He's 44 years old. He lives in our home, and before you get all judgmental and everything, he had a birth injury, and so he has cerebral palsy, and it's not possible for him to live on his own, so he lives with us. And most of the time when we go out and we film for our YouTube, he's there. Not all of the time, but most of the time, especially when we go out of town. So if you ever see us pushing a wheelchair, that's our son. And so, you know, we are happy and we're joyful and we love life. That doesn't mean that we don't go through things that aren't pleasant and that we don't experience things, because that's just life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's helpful to some people out there, because if you are diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, for me, it's not been a death sentence, so to speak. I mean, because for me, the medication and the prayers that people are praying for me are working, and I can live life without having that horrible pain. And I just pray it continues to be that way. So thanks a lot for joining me today and listening to my story. So I'll see you next time on Retired and Loving It. If you want to see more of our videos, click the video that just popped up on your screen.